Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Fish Tank. So I've now done an episode for every single year of my life, but not an episode in every single year of my life, just one for every year. So I start off this week's show with a letter I received. It wasn't addressed to me, it was addressed to Miss Heather Mills McCartney. It just said, "Dear Heather, what a mess you're in at the moment. You must be kicking yourself." So I'm not sure why that one got sent to me, but not to worry. I also had a message left for me on jimbostudios.com. In the comments section it said that they felt my show was fixed and scripted after the invasion I had last week from someone claiming that I was invading his airspace, or he was invading my airspace rather. So, just hang on. Oh yes, sorry, fix. You must be kidding me, mate. This show is not fixed. So anyway, yeah, I spoke to Jimbo. I had a quick talk with him. Asked if he wanted me to carry on doing the fish tank. He said, "Yeah, of course do. Don't panic about it. You know, you're doing perfectly well. You're not in any trouble or anything. Just carry on. You'll be fine." So I'm going to carry on doing it for the foreseeable future. So anyway, it's time to launch a competition that I'm doing this week in the show. I've been asked to reference something. I've been put up to this challenge to reference something at least 10 times in the show. So it could be a bit tricky. If you can work out what it is that I'm referencing, then you will win a prize. And the prize will be just the notes that I've written down for this week's fish tank. You'll get that, I'll sign it to you and send it out to you if you manage to correctly guess what it is that I'm talking about and referencing. And by the way, I've already referenced it 5 times in the show, which is quite good. So it's time for Apology of the Week. Right, in last week's show I noticed there was a slight colour change when I held up a piece of paper. So I'm going to hold up a piece of paper again and just sort of slowly look at the screen, and the colour should change. It's just beginning to change now. There we go, there's a slight change in colour just by holding up a piece of paper. I mean, how does that work? You hold up a piece of paper and lo and behold we get a change of colour. It's just weird. Right, so take it down again and the colour will change back to like it were at the start. So there we go, we're back to square one again. Weird. So what's been happening this week, or what's going to happen? Well, England are about to play against the West Indies again, and in their 3rd test match they've drawn the first one and then won the second one. They would be 2-0 up, but it was raining too much at the start, so not to worry. And they've been doing well, predominantly due to a high-speed century from Kevin Peterson in the last 2 test matches. Apparently the one in the 2nd test was the fastest he'd ever scored. So he's a man who obviously makes you proud to be South African, I suppose, because he's not really English. Listening in the post-match conferences, he'll just say, "Oh yes, well I think I betted quite well today. It's been a tricky one for betting today, but I applied myself well, and I hopefully can go on and win the game." Not really a very good English accent, because he was born in South Africa and brought up in South Africa, but he plays for England. But I suppose I like him because he's a good player, so makes perfect sense to some degree. Good friend of Shane Warne apparently, and I read in the newspaper the other day they went 10-pin bowling together, Peterson and Shane Warne, and Peterson got a little bit annoyed with Warne because whenever Warne bowled one down, you had to have Adam Gilchrist stood behind the pins, continually shouting, "Oh yes, bowling Warner, yeah, bowling Warner, I like it, Shane." Apparently Shane Warne can nowadays only live his life sort of to his full potential if he's got Adam Gilchrist, giving him bits of encouragement, saying well bowled and stuff like that. So there you go. So Big Brother has also been in the news. The new series started last week. My friend who I mentioned could be on it, wasn't on it. And I had speculated that there may be loads of really weird people on it, and I was right because there was loads of women on it. I'm sure I can't get any more weird than that. Although, let's face it, I was expecting some person who glowed a yellow luminescent colour on it perhaps, or something strange like that. I suppose let's face it, they've only got women in so they can just have massive arguments and see the sparks fly after a bit because they'll start bitching and stuff like that. But it's women for you, I suppose. So there we go. Any Big Brother contestants who get evicted, feel free to appear on the show. That's my celebometer message this week. So we're about to move on to headlines, but first I've got sort of like another sort of news cutting, which is not actually a headline as such, but it was in an obituary in the Daily Telegraph this week. The first obituary was about some lord who, died and he gave a long way to charity, very nice man, liked fox hunting perhaps, that kind of thing. Second obituary was about a German artist. Said a very talented artist, however, his life his life was involved in scandal, if you like, when it was discovered that he organised cocaine-fuelled orgies. And in the paper, in the Daily Telegraph, it actually got a picture of him, and underneath it said, "Here's a picture of him attending the Orgy of the Year Awards." What kind of award ceremony is that? I mean, what do you win if you sort of get the prize for Best Orgy of the Year? I mean, let's face it, we know you're going to celebrate if you win the award, but what do you actually win? So anyway, now moves on to the headline, which this week is a headline by someone who might actually watch the fish tank. If you remember on last week's show, I talked about the water situation that we've got in our halls, where it's apparently got too much lead in it. I told quite a funny joke about me having a lot of lead in me. Well, not that funny, but whatever. Anyway, the headline's from the Leicester Mercury. It says, "Campus hit by poison alert." That's the front page headline, referring to the thing I was talking about. I mean, it used to be the case that you could just sort of set your clocks by me waking up with the daylight shining through my curtains, and I'd go and have a drink of water. And I'll be honest, it's quite good because to have a headline like this, because finding the headline's been for quite a while the hardest part of the show, trying to get a good headline. But it's just nice to have one that refers to me. Yeah, that's quite good. And obviously we got a note slid under the door. There's no warning sign or anything like that, and it just says don't drink it. But we've had water coolers installed, so we're not really fussed about it at all. And yet it gets front page headlines, so who on earth has thought of that? And obviously the explanation is someone who watches the fish tank writes the headlines for Leicester Mercury, some people would say. So it's time for quote of the week as well, which comes from a 5 Live commentator. The commentator says, he's talking about the West Ham player Julian Dix. He says, "Julian Dix is everywhere. It's like they've got 11 dicks on the field." So no need for that kind of language, but alright. What if though he's actually commentating on a Manchester United match? In which case he might have a valid point. Not that I'm sort of trying to be offensive towards Man United fans or anything, but there you go. Anyway, that's the end of this week's show, and if you've managed to spot what it is I've been referring to throughout the show, I think I've probably referred to this special challenge feature about sort of 15 times now. Please leave a comment, and you will the first person to get the right answer will get a signed copy of the notes of this week's fish tank. So that's it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye.